audit na yani name no ena ede abepie ha say 1,347 containers ayira. Because remember, Nansia near the Jakpa, Nansia near the Atofos Gojina Court, Godfrey Dame, MPP, Afenoma Kimujina Parliament, can say Atofos in Kra, Edgy instructions, every the boss said take ho, and or sign document na ambulance by ya, Yanchi Jakpa, Yanchi Atofos, na Yanjeli or Afenoma can said it in Parliament. Now, and Yanko straight to Kasongo 99 ECG Asamaba. Now, ECG, you know, I bet you see containers CBA ECG deba Ghana containers 1,347 ayira. The current energy minister, Mr. John Jinapo, abekache Ghana for say, sa containers we ayira. The obeto ye no, say MPP abreso and sa containers ni nyina ayira. Now, and the minister at the committee be now the committee no or taski almost investigations into ECG any containers ayira any the crime akoso. Yani we are always ahead of everyone. We have been able to intercept the investigations report 103 pages, 103 pages, and what's our reporting? The report has 3 pages. This is the report. Investigative reports on Electricity Company of Ghana's container hold-up at Temaport and related procurement issues. That Mena made a report for the first time in Ghana. Minister because hey, Kelvin Taylor be hard guy, yeah. Because maybe I'm going printing report, sir, maybe I'm printing, me wa kwala bi wo ho. The report man printing or demon kwa am printing or baby there, me wa kwala wo ho. So minister na anadwo because hey ade a me kutema me pese obi abehu no. Report no has 103 pages. Report no it is packed. Me be show part bi or report no. Me wi na ma publish amamo. Asiafo MPP for na mudi omochi. Afenyo marking is a criminal. Politics mu per this report no. He's a criminal. Per this report, per this investigative reporter, John Jinapo, the Minister of Energy, Eka say committee ni no, per the mehunu report no, Afenyomakin is a thief. He needs to go to jail. It was the same Afenyomakin was telling us to say, Finance Minister Atofosina or J instructions to free the boss, sign a document. Afenyomakin was in Parliament saying, Atofosin, who even took permission. And the boss back court back and say, yes, I instructed him. No, Afenyomakin was saying, say Yenjeli ato kwasia. Afenyomakin today, onena or initiative chrono. He needs to go to jail. He's a thief. Or a dirty, despicable, filthy thief. Nobody should pay attention to that idiot. Now, my mention dear, the minister said something in Parliament.
As Minister for Energy and Green Transition, currently, my vision is simple. I want all the 1,346 containers accounted for. 1,346 containers. Whatever it takes, I'll bring those containers to where they ought to be. Mr. Speaker, let me set the record straight. And if my good friend Professor will listen to me, there's not been any inconsistency. At the transition committee, Honorable Yarga was there. They gave us a figure of 3,000. Then they told us it had incurred demurrage of 1.5 billion. I was sworn into office on the 17th. On the 24th, I visited the harbour. At the harbour, I was told the containers were 2,500. That is what aroused my suspicion. I didn't say at the harbour that the containers are 2,500. I couldn't have counted 2,500 containers instantaneously. And so from 24th, I went to brief the president on 27th. And by 31st, I had established this committee. There was media coverage. And we took Professor Senyo. He's a chartered procurement expert. The report was submitted just this week. It was during the presentation of the report that the committee told me that contrary to the figures they were giving you, over 1,300 containers cannot be accounted for. These are the facts and nothing but the facts. Mr. Speaker, these are the facts. So those who are on social media and trying to play the political game, let me assure you, it will not deter me. Yesterday, when President Mahama called me, his message was simple. Jinapo, you have my full backing, go the full throttle. And that is exactly what we are doing. We've already arrested some Chinese nationals. We are on the trail of some Indian nationals who have bolted. But you know, this is a house of record. And so I'm being very, very cautious. I've received a lot of briefing. And I'm getting to know those who are behind it. This has been going on for years. I will stop that, and it will stop right now. But Mr. Speaker, it's not just going to stop. We shall retrieve the containers of the materials. We shall prosecute the perpetrators, and we will prosecute the perpetrators, and we will sell the rods to recover the cost.
That is your able energy minister. I say, time I'm taking over now. Figures are MPP for the Maomono. It was wrong. A port who said no. Figures on the more paper, so no. It is not what he's seen at the port. So he went back and said, no, I want to know more. In fact, from what you told me at the transition meetings, Oka said the colleagues no more, no, 3,000, no, or could report one, it wasn't 3,000, it was 2,500. And I said, no, it means more work needs to be done to get to the bottom of it, because at the transition level, no, MPP forecast said 3,000. You better report 2,500. Or so on to me, and also containers 2,500. And Oka said an audit must be done. Audit na any name no and the ABP has say 1,347 containers ayra. Now, so 1,347 containers ayra. Then I was say as a nation. Because remember, Nansia near the Jakpa, Nansia near the Ato Force go in court. Godfrey Dame, MPP, Afenyoma Kimujina Parliament, can say Ato Force in cra, edge instructions, every the boss set take ho, and or sign document na ambulance by ya, Yanchi Jakpa, Yanchi Ato Force, na Yanjeli or Afenyoma can said it in Parliament. This was Ato Force who took instructions from his boss set take. And no, Afenyoma can say it is important we clean the system and we make sure corruption is uprooted. And so won't take the air canasia ECG chrono na akoso from 2022. Me ba be chiro the report no investigations no mo ye no what they uncovered or what they discovered. Ebema wo yemu be hyew. And before I start no me be say wo chiro ade bi. Now you see this man. Your friend Afenyoma King. Onina the leader of the pigs or the piglets minority in parliament. Sir man Afenyoma Kiwe Ekufuado appointing say onina embeye den board chair of ECG July 2024. Now before Afenyoma King appointing another man we know your friend Kelly Gajepo. Man, we say na the first day Ghana 14 din na ya mena me boni din PDS scandal no so. PDS energy, PDS Ghana electricity deals about umiako sign ye over $500 million omudi ye Gabi Ochedako me born audio bumpty any ayede ayensumu no PDS na me breaky in collaboration with ayede Herald newspaper Larry Dogbe you breaky PDS a save Ghana scandal. This man Kelly Gajepo, me na me body din first Emma Ghana for who say nipa bi sa e Ghana. Ono na na ye ECG board chair. Mysteriously April 19, 2024, right before election, April, and also are resigning. Ghanaians asked Kelly Gajepo, say, why have you resigned? What am I reason? Also are resigning as the board chair of ECG. Or ICGC. We if you form kwa. ewi fon kwa e wan na kenofori atasoko almost of ni e papa no sheketins no I friend Mensa Otabil no the sheketins na or the nsem hunu no political pastor no ono na ye ma boy bi ko jail okotena e bank board so omko wie sika e ma young man bi ko jail sa man your friend Mensa Otabil. He was part of that board that mismanaged the bank's money for a young man, innocent man, to go to jail, for him to still be practicing and taking offering every Sunday. Your friend Mensa Otabil. Now, sorry, Bani. So, Keligajapo, April 9th, and also on Jumani, he's resigning as the board chair of ECG. Ya born busani bibia. Ya born busani say, Kelly. I'm sorry, my team, they are sending me something. Ghana for Busa Kelly, say Kelly. Now, I would say, my team is sending me information, but they want me to slow down and let you people know something. Busa man will say, why are you resigning? Wanka, you are the board chair of the ECG, or say, my reason. Into man we resigning, you know, and na Ekufuado. I can say, after you're marking the businessman, go and replace Kelly Gajepo. Ewo ECG. So after you're marking took over July 2024. Naka beye 5 months ni aba. Technically naka 6 months. Na yakoto aba 2024. And after you're marking ekot name as the board chair of ECG. Remember, after you're marking debut general parliament also or your businessman. So Ekufuado told Afenyomakin, who is a businessman, to go and head ECG as the board chair. Remember, Afenyomakin, the client Kennedy Japan, who was supplying electricity, equipment and light, energy stuff to ECG. So the businessman, whose client is also a businessman, has been given the job as the board chair of ECG. Afenyomakin, the client Kennedy Japan. Kene Japan so ya manisika mrebi so on supply street light ema ECG sikana ma light na ma ene eti ha ene Ekufuado se akwa we eye Afenyomakin enko lead ECG. Remember Afenyomakin ko lead ECG no nipa na oye MD of ECG your friend Dubik Mahama mebeka boy we asem che before elections. Dubik Mahama onina from 2022 oye MD managing director of ECG ABC. Before elections, September and also are resigning. Dubik Mahama no MD of ECG. September 25th, also nye jumani bi wejai. Yebusa said, what are your reasons? Also only reason biya. And I will so work it out. Before election, because I said this boy is a thief. Ka biya open organa biya boy we will be. O to send the panel woko monako no akwa birthday. This boy got to the sandbox na onum wi ni jota. I saw bottom. This boy, I came to tell you people where he will go to jail. Now, boy, we are kwatena baby did me matter. Dubik Mahama on na MD from 2022. Otna wa bedru ha. You do September pe also on your money bill. What was your reason? No reason. Wejai. Oh yes, sad. I will show you his properties. Ah, girls are on my wo or girl be or what dying to be my girl be UK. This boy. Me so be a time eba. Now, yanko issue neso. So, in Kofu they took over and they were there at ECG. After Kelly Koyeno, na Afenyomakin, any day, or ne Dubik Mahama, and more running things. Remember, Ghana Mremuno, Oko state-owned enterprises, government institutions. There's a reason why they be a MD. Ana ye CEO se board no anka se ye CEO entum ana so board na endorse ya CEO no krampo no the human to me start anything and Mahama yi so many CEOs as we are sitting here now they are waiting for board approval into board the board is there to check a MD to check CEO. The board is the last stop to stop corruption because the board ne be corrupt pe it means to say the whole agency is a mess. Every time when you are picking a CEO, make sure you are picking the right board. Because a CEO, no, any board don't be connive. Naka some way damage or finish mo. And be na ABAJ, any Godfrey Dame, because ABAJ time no procurement as the manager, no. Now Godfrey Dame as the attorney general, not procurement board. So, into idea ABAJ, no, Godfrey Dame was sanctioning it. ABA mono, mon check is anyomano. ABAJ Chrono Board of Procurement Authority, no. Godfrey Dame was on the board of procurement authority when ABAJ was bringing documents for them to endorse. Because now Godfrey Dame and ABAJ, they have connived, no mere partners. And Obua ABAJ money, yes, our deals. The same applies to AD and ECG. Without the board, the MD or whoever is the manager or whoever cannot, there's no checker. ECG bet must sign without the approval of the board and more importantly, the board chair. When we talk about a board chair, ECG board chair, no check or no contract can be signed between ECG and a private individual, a government, or anybody without the board giving a green light. Into the board, it is the last stop to stop every corruption. So when you are the board chair of ECG, you are basically the last stop of corruption, and whatever happens at ECG from the top, you will have to give green light for it to go on. You cannot tell me as a board chair, say, ECG, I could sign a 2 million deal. You have no idea about. You are lying. No. Then you have to come and prove that whether that issue was brought to board or not, whether the person who signed that 2 million deal actually informed the board or did it on their own. So, as some as the ECG, the board chair and the MD who was there, they have to come and answer questions. Maybe a MD and maybe a board in him. Maybe a board in and maybe an MD in him. It is only through Jakpa investigations and yebehu nipa owia yesika. Are you following? All right, I'm make sure there. Now you be reporting him, and I make sure documents. And the make documents. Remember when we could enter after your marking. So Bejina Parliament BM Kasa Muntunto Siongunu so. He's a despicable human being. So I girlfriend a friend I won't know and I would too no. Metren be your tenne. Na yeren ko after your marking. You after your marking. I've been watching you. Yeah. Uko Tesia. Oni girl be out two or your friend awu. Wakoto diama girl. Eh? What after your marking? Oji so ni mnyansama. Oji say you can destroy people. Oji say you Jimmy and you're Ghana. I'm a politician. I'm a businessman. Who came to say bodam for. Oga na ote awo. But in the picture, then Koran picture about Chema or Yirehu. So I tell you, mansion or Kotama girl no she teach you on awo. But the o picture about Chema or Yireno. Nam den Koran mi na ma wona Chema or Yireno. Send the bad any pan of awo. So me say Mitianam ko wa or China nobody Chema any bad. It's mema o Yirehu Koran mi no. Awo Korano. Teshi. Wadria will say Ghana for you Jimmy. Unim Bonia Wedi Unim and I will tell him answer. Now do you know something? The board chair after your marking and the Assembly of Parliament. And anytime make say after your marking is guilty. Onim so a bokrono, onim so say jailino, but he's playing some game. He's playing a psychological game. And the after your marking sorry or Parliament. Oh, Assembly SCO ECG no crampo there. And NDC and people we should come together and make sure we solve the problem. Now the problem is the GP Gapoha people and people who work at the port. And now NDC or no any MP they should come together and go after civil servants. Obwa. He's playing on the conscience of Ghanaians. He knows he's guilty. This is the same African American who was telling Ghanaians to say, at the end of the day, the boss man permission to sign the document. And ECG contains 1,347 naira. After your marking a sort of parliament, say, oh, we all have to be patriotic. Obwa, he knows he's guilty. After your marking a real sika, after your marking stole millions and billions from Ghanaians through ECG, per the report I have. Into or play Sane Kasongo strategy, no. Suddenly, Waba Parliament, oh, we all have to fight together and make sure whatever is happening at ECG, it's an institutional problem. It is the bureaucracy. You were the immediate board chair. Listen to Kasongo.
ECG. I had the privilege of chairing the board in July. Because I'm a businessman, the first question I ask myself is that how can ECG award a contract And when the contract is awarded, all the person does is deliver at the port, present bill of lading, and request for payment. I said, with the greatest respect, I don't want to use a word. This is Parliament. I was shattered. I said, how? And ECG would have to pay. So I realized that ECG was paying a lot of bills when they have not even had access to the goods. And when you ask them, I asked the procurement manager, director of procurement, a question. I said, why did he say, oh, chairman, this is the practice since. This is the practice. And they will bring you document. I listened to honorable member for Secondary, lawyer, you from Secondary, question meeting. And I am adopting his submissions as though they were mine. The time has come. This politics, somebody says MPP, NDC, it's a system problem that I will any day support this minister to embark on reforms. How come containers at the ports, containers that have arrived, the bureaucracy at our ports, they say the containers are missing. Mr. Speaker, it is true that when these containers come, there is some connivance with some customs officials, and they sell these containers, these cables that ECG needs after the supplier has been paid. They sell the container, and then people resell back to ECG. Are we pretending we don't know? Instead of us to pay attention and kill the rots, then we come here, then MPP, NDC, so now they say, oh, maybe it's happening on the MPP, it's happening on the NDC. No. An honorable minister, I know what you can do. If we can give you support to do it, you must adopt a posture, a non-partisan posture, and tackle the rots. But if we all want to approach it, MPP, NDC, Mr. Speaker, it will remain. NDC will spend 4 years, 16 years, 20 years. The same thing will be there. They will come into opposition, and the same thing would arise again.
Oh, what he's trying to do at this point, from the Onoe cannot say, oh, Nimrod and Ekoso, as the board chair, he went there. The question is, what did he do about it? So it is clearly negligence and deliberately causing financial loss to the state. Per his own statement, when he took over as the board chair, and he's given us even more details than we know, meaning he has more information than all of the people in parliament. So Afenyo is the first person to assist the government in investigating this matter. Because you say you're a businessman, you became the board chair, and that you have noticed a problem. You have noticed corruption. You have noticed people are scamming Ghanaians. Your job as the board chair, you took an oath to be the board chair, is to protect the public purse. So what do you need to do? Immediately you stop it, you write a report, you open investigations, you get people taken into custody to make sure the system is protected. He looked on, he joined the party, he joined the prostitution, he fucked the girls, he became part of the crime, he turned into a virus, he is now killing people, and he steps out to come and tell us that we should all come together and be killed by AIDS. You are mad. Oh, bodam. It is NDC MPP. Today you want collaboration. No. We are fighting this war of corruption as Ghanaians, irrespective of which political party you belong to. NDC is in power. If you are an MPP and you have caused a problem, you need to be jailed. Into a general parliament, you know, he's playing mind games. Oh, where there a Ghana problem? Kwasia, da bena who say, yeah, Bokrono or ECG a Ghana problem. A MPP now cause a problem, no. A who as the board chair who led the corruption, because Sanka ECG, Yeka say, Anka John Abujina Pobekachere say, ECG was able to make a revenue of $100 billion. Kakwasia, Utru Kro, Kawabejina Polet say, yeah, you know us. We, Mr. Speaker, we are the minority. When we were there, Kwasia, criminality about there, we should come together as a unit. No. We want to stand individually and deal with the problem. You think you are a smart politician, dirty riffraff. And I want you to understand, you have to go to jail. What's the Ghana and out parliament? and now we use unkwasi anyansa de dada nkofo. And you think say everything is about politics. Every day I'm a businessman. Every day I'm a businessman. And I wish a business the politics and I will Ghana. All the things we were saying in parliament, 99% of Ghanaians did not know. So if the corruption has happened or happened under you, under your leadership, and you did not do anything about it, then it means this is pure negligence. It means you knew the crime was ongoing. When also a lawyer. So if you have an idea of a crime, and at the end of the day, we find out that you knew about the crime, what makes you? You are a criminal. You are not even supposed to stand in our parliament to even discuss Ghana's issues. Also, we are doing boxing, we are doing poso, songo 99. You are a filthy liar. Now, me say, you see, Freemason for they're the intelligent, honest people in the Freemason. Now, what made you get into that Freemason? So today, Freemason, they are employing criminals. Is this the Freemasonry thing? Now, idea who gina okay. So who gina Freemason yangu pointim na o kam kwasi story we ya. Obi say Freemason yameno obemu ewura Freemason heaven. This guy is an embarrassment. He was trying to play on the conscience of Ghanaians. When did we start to fight corruption as NDC MPP together? No. We are fighting corruption. We are fighting people who have been involved in corruption. So at this point, it's not about NDC being power or MPP being power. It's about who and who were involved in this crime. And you, the board chair, Afenyo Markin, you oversaw the criminality for all these months and you did not say a word. Today you are in parliament telling us that you know all that is happening and you didn't take any action. Go and read your rules, the rules governing the board that you were on. You are a liar. Avenue, you are a filthy, dirty liar. You are a corrupt, dirty criminal who calls himself a politician. Per the report I have seen. Per the report I have seen, you are a thief. You have stolen from Ghanaians. Now let's go into the report. Team, stay with me. What do you say, Jimmy Bejinabaye and we all and the bureaucracy, boredom-cracy. Mommy and you report to him. Ghana na we say what's how they be Ghana fosika. Now look at this. Moment kind report no. Report na me de be no. The whole Ghana obia any report no. Now this man too was the man who was in charge of procurement. In fact, answer na me call report no. Me church obia mu. Now one, this man is Keligajepo. Or no NNA board chair. Edu baby also a jai board chair juma no on your board chair or ECG biom. Yebusan reason also on can and a kufu adi no and Afenyo Markin be share ho. Afenyo Markin so be share ho no and from July see the end of Kufuado's tenure or the board chair of ECG. This guy a very Dubik Mahama on an MD, managing director of ECG. Chrono of course on an MD. He was collaborating with the board chair to make sure ECG is run. Ufriwa, this man, they made him This man, they made him the procurement boss. This man, the background and your procurement. His background was into housing and other things. But what they did was that his background was in estates, any housing or ECG. They moved this man, they merged procurement and merged those two offices, housing and procurement. And I'm the share man we inside. Man, we want to calculate an 10 digits on to me yet. He knew nothing about calculations. He knew nothing about procurement. Afenyo Markin Kufuadomo and of the share for a specific reason. If you do also I wanted you to know the actors in this scandal. But the lead actor is Afenyo Markin, the leader of the 88 piglets, the MPP minority. Moja, no position a chair. Moye before. Now, Momianko a reporting. Gigim the whole Ghana Obiang will report to it. This is the first time you are seeing it. Every Ghanaian ehun because we want you to know the truth. All right, so it's time to do the scandal. Team, stay with me. Obia share because I'm say Kelvin Taylor the crane about. This is the report, investigative report on Electricity Company of Ghana's, that's ECG's container holdup at Tema Port and related procurement issues. This for Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. Prepared by Technical Committee, March 2025. And this report Obienhu Ghana da. We are ahead of the Energy Ministry. Minister, how did Kevin get this? Because I control Ghana, the media space. I have over 77 people on the ground. Ghana. There's nothing I want. I'm in Sanka. And whatever we get, yen fire and Sanka, the raw detail now. So this is it. Now, so we read the report now. You get to a session where so much detailed finding. Report near 103 pages, 103 pages. Andrew and Ajo, myself and my team, we were on phone the whole night, about 4 hours. We read through it and made sure we ticked every single, crossed every T and dotted every I, because we wanted to know all the facts. 103 pages. Not a kind document to come and break down for Ghanaians to understand. Into Udru page 4, you'll be a friend. Detailed findings. Say, report where we na me water marking the two system ni ma Energy Ministry ni ba omombra magasa me boa. These are the facts. Bibia ni ma obi abetu magasa a contest wo Ghana. Now let's move forward. Yankan ade bi wa ha. We are going to read and explain. Oko page 20 in the report. Key decisions that led to the container hold up at the port. These are the key decisions. The container hold up after the committee investigations, nyabotre obeti ase obewon say MPP omoya before kwasiafo. We need to jail all of them. Now 4.1.1 key decisions that led to the container hold up at the port. 1. ECG decided to use costs, insurance and freight as their preferred incoterm in engaging local suppliers of foreign goods, requiring that ECG clears the containers upon arrival at the port. 2. These are all the key decisions are leading to the hold-up. 2. To facilitate this, management decided to set aside and transfer 5 million Ghana cedis each week into a shipping account to be used by the shipping department in clearing ECG containers that arrive at the port. Into ECG, ayo madwene say, ayo containers are omo de beba nyina omo beyi no, omo bie a department. And omo yo madwene say, almost every time biano omo di sika betum 5 million Ghana cedis. Now sa department where your investigations the omo uncover and make kind sure mess up back. Sa department na ECG department bia. All that they did was they were putting 5 million Ghana cedis in it. Send beya every time omo container bed report na no ma clear. And that was basically to sit down every week biano near their tomb. Container bedroom ya ECG ship container bia bedroom ya na no ma clear. They didn't want to incur any debt at the port. In the investigations, omo say there was a department like that. Omo ECG edisikatum every time de biano sika dem 5 million Ghana cedis. It contain a bedroom report na no my den omo yi yanko enim. Now okay point 3 Now remember, so 5 million Ghana cedis na every week every week be na ECG transfer 5 million to. And ya 1 month, and ya 2 months, and ya 3 months, and ya every single week. Na ECG you 5 million Ghana. Normally a koto sa department na accounting shipping department omo de omo djuma nyina say every week be a 5 million ba be dem normally a clear ECG goods at port. Enti ECG was never supposed to encounter anything like demurrage. Say ECG port a ship and a container abeka Tema port na ECG nyesika nyi because there's always money sitting and waiting. Yanko enim. Now, point 3, this is page 20. You have a published document now, mama. Point 3, the committee noted that this initiative greatly assisted with containers being cleared without them piling up at the port. Inti Omo who say in the investigations no, omo who say 5 million am de to a week biara na eboa emo mo ye dey omo tumi eyi omo nyoma free port wano abra Ghana emboka. Point 4, page 20. However, management in 2022 omo say emom afi eye 2022 no BBC management no stopped transferring the 5 million Ghana cedis into the designated shipping account. Inti almost suddenly 2022 ECG management led by Dubik Mahama, that time no not Kelly Gajepo and a board chair, they stopped moving money into the shipping account. Sa account na every week bia omudi sika tum 5 million Ghana every week tum send a ECG container bedru porter omeyi fast no every week no 2022 no mujaye Dubik Mahama na MD Kelly Gajepo and a board chair. Suddenly they stopped. Now the question is so mujaya wa wo hwe mo hwe ade na besi. It means to say ECG containers bedru porter they cannot clear it as frequently as they used to, meaning there's going to be backlog. It means containers are going to pile up. Because the moment you stop the flow of money, it will be clear goods. Every container that comes to be it will be stuck. Now the question is, why did they do that? Page 20 in the investigative report. Point 5. The containers then started piling up at the port due to the unavailable funds to clear them. Into 2.5, the containers started piling up after Dubik Mahama or MD or Kelly Gajepo any board they decided to say they did not give any reason, they stopped. So the containers started piling up. Now point 6, the Material and Transport Directorate raised the issue at a management meeting but received the response that there were no funds. You see, Transport Directorate no more ECG at a management meeting not Dubik Mahama or MD nitiwo and a transport for na share a shipping and logistics no maso raise say boss 5 million na de be to a shipping account no say sika no mo jaitua your containers so air pile up omubusa Dubik Mahama ewo management meeting no o se sika ni ho obi amfa no Jimmy nkoda sika ni ho enti omu pushi ye Dubik Mahama says sika ni ho omu free onko no wa and omu so ye din. Let's move forward. Now go point 7. The Material and Transport Directorate wrote at least 3 memos appealing to management to release funds to enable them to clear the containers. However, no response has been received from management regarding these appeals. Inti transport for no almost any Transport Directorate for no they kept pushing. At least they wrote about 3 letters. Ekoma management and not Dubik Mahama Edano say, boss, the containers are piling. We are incurring losses. We are incurring debt. Ghana for bre Sikano air pilo ho ekeba. Dubik Mahama receiving the 3 letters all told them he does not have any money to give them. He ignored them. Kelly Gajepo was the board chair. Mijujum amount. Senabaya ochina kakobi ana kwasiebi embeka se kwasiebi ana kakobi metina radio so mbeka se ai na NDC for mijujum. Now yanko enim. Let's go to page 21. Sorry. Hey, I've gone ahead of myself. Yanko page 21 in Samuel Dawson. Ubemu point 8. This is still the investigative report. This is the first time. Minister, you must I can tell a fucking guy. Yes, I control. Now, point 8. The same investigative report. I'm going to say, in as much as the containers kept piling up with resultant demurrage coupled with management excuse of the unavailability of funds, ECG through the management director continued awarding new CIF contracts without using competitive procurement methods, requiring the payment of 90% of the contract sum when the suppliers submit the shipping document. Now, procurement transport directorate for Epushia Dubik Mahama eka se sikeni wono The same time ana containers na pile no. Na ECG through the board Keligajepo air board chair and the big Mahama air ECG director no. They were still giving a year contract to companies to be shipping containers or more things to Ghana. In fact, they were basically giving them 90% funding for assuring them to bring it. Inti Ghana for na say we are piling, nyoma pile, Kaligajapo, any idea, Dubik Mahama says the same time no, they were still telling shippers to bring more containers. Why? Because the ones at the port, your transport directorate for the say, we don't have money, we need to clear them. They are piling up, we are paying the mortgage. Still, also winning funds, but you are able to still contract companies to bring more containers. This is what the investigators, auditors, the investigations, this is what they came to see. So I say, Obi BB. 1, Sikana was here declaring your port, I stop it, Mbabium. 2, we are in charge of clearing of the goods, air catch the MD say, management, your money pilot, a keba, the mortgage chair, or this skinny. 3, the same time as Sikeni one, do big Mahan management and still air shipping your ede ba a yeteba port. Why is it so? Because I want to add intra. Let's move on. Now, point 9. Listen to point 9. Per custom laws, consignment that are not entered for clearance after 21 days of discharge at the port are registered under uncleared cargo list UCL and therefore become the property of the state. Almost say during the investigations, who say embra or why say container ebe ditema port na after 21 days nipa na or ship container ne buy no when to man clear container na automatically sa container na ebe ye Ghana dia. It becomes a property of the state. And in this case, it's a state agency that basically imported these containers. Until right now, 21 days ago, the state agency has not paid to clear the containers. So it has become a state property. Into technically, Ama Manasha de Guo and a demorrage action and a still almost shipping more deba. Now, Mamin Kobe Nim. It says, oh, team. Okay. Now, when you read the point 10, this is what it says. Containers that remained uncleared for a period of time attract demurrage charges payable to the shipping line. Inti, so containers in the report wa. Now say 21 days. Now so obi ambe year. Sa shipping line na ebia Temaport companies na omu hosti containers na esi o masase so no. Omu keep containers no. Now demurrage no was say boa o containers every single day bia no it builds up. Kano almost all container na you need to pay basically to make it easy for you shipping line no and our companies na host o container na and say container ni si o masase so port no. You have to pay every day for not coming to clear your container. Dubik Mahama knew. ECG board, led by Keligajepo as the board chair, they knew, they still ignored. They were still shipping containers outside Ghana, coming to the port, even though they knew, say, they had hundreds of containers sitting there, attracting demurrage. They didn't care. They were still shipping in containers. Dubik said there's no money, but they are still ordering more things to be stuck at the port. Why is it so? Somebody is doing something. There is a plan. Point 11. The number of containers on UCL kept rising with exponential increase in demurrages. Into someone who say, "Afedie containers no ba na eba ECG a onyi containers no ba na eba ECG so a mo ano mo kra." And now be go on a demurrage action and a sikane kosro. Dubik Mahama does not care. Keligajepo, who was the board chair, did not care. Now the question here is, why do you think they know that containers are piling up and they are still shipping containers back? Why do they know, say, the containers are attracting demurrage? Why do you think they didn't do anything about it? The answer is in the pudding. There's a plan. There's a game. They know what they are doing. They are piling it for a reason. Now let's go to point 12. By December 2024, the number of ECG containers on uncleared cargo list UCL had totaled 2,491. Almost say at the end of December 2024, no, not Dubik Mahama, Oma crack containers is 2,941 in the seaport war. Omon clear any guho. Busa almost say why? Sa containers see a good port way. Where investigations now, John Jinapo, Emma, a committee, no, this is their findings. Why do you think they are doing that? Why are they not concerned? Because it is looking more like the more regional mutual crumple. At the end of the day, it could be say a bit to make your containers 100,000 times, but they are leaving the containers there to attract more debt. I didn't know more, yes, sir. Now let's go on. When you get to point 13, point 13, this is what it says. Management wrote to the Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority for restoration and request was subsequently granted. Into management, as actual letter comma GRE, per restoration, and a GRE, that time na ekufuadu nipano, amishadai, ananyonwa. Na sa kronfona and abianya mishadai. Akwebina na when we do retirement na ekufuadu sa extending, they kept that guy there and that guy restored, that guy what granted that. Now already point 14, now there's something there, let me show you. Point 14 in the investigative report, or say, the Materials and Transport Directorate initiated negotiations with the shipping lines with respect to waivers of demurrage cost and had a favorable deal from the shipping lines. In the Material and Transport the Department of ECG, they wrote a letter to the shipping line. Companies now hold containers no port to say, ya percent ka nemo edin komona moma ye waiver bi. Now waiver no anke boya made me clear the containers no. This is a department with ECG. They were trying to take action because they thought to say a can door 2,941 containers and a guo. They wanted to have a negotiation with a shipping line so that the shipping line can meet them halfway for them to be able to ask for some waiver. And as a entisobi now to me a clear container. No, this is the transport and material for no. They are trying to be proactive. Now, Rebecca said, where is the evidence? I make sure one letter. I have about 20 letters. I have container numbers, but I make sure letters be or this is one of the letters they wrote to one of the letters they wrote to the shipping line. In this study, this letter was written on the 18th of October 2024. 18th of October 2024. Technically, almost a month after Dubik Mahama resigning a free infant ECG. So when you read the letter, you will see it. Electricity Company of Ghana, Electro Voltage House. The letter is dated 18th October 2024. Now, when you read, it says the commercial director, Meridian Port Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, Tema Port, new for no, no mu hold the containers no, into na ECG for department no, actually letter come say, percent komo mu waiver bi, nanka tumia den, ebwa na clear containers in the team. So we study a letter the date now. October 2024, na Afinyomakin was the board chair. Afinyomakin became the board chair on July 2024. July 2024, and Afinyomakin ebe board chair. Until when this letter was being written to MPS for a waiver, no, Afinyomakin was the board chair of the ECG. And that department of ECG, were worried. They really wanted a waiver into a mutual letter. And to remember, this letter, Afinyomakin should know about it. Unless as a board chair, he wants to come in front of Jakpa and tell the whole Ghana, say, he knew nothing about this letter. And that the letter was written by that department head without consulting the MD and also the board. Until Afinyomakin should come out and tell us, say, he doesn't know anything about this letter. Now, what is in the letter? Let me read what's in the letter. So the board chair, Ono afenyomakin your letter we no on na LED board no. Now read the letter now. We respectfully request a waiver of terminal charges accrued on the accrued on the unit attached below, which have overstayed in your terminal. Many of the units were imported as supply inputs for various electrification expansion programs and a stock for critical repair and maintenance. However, due to many reasons impacting on our supply chain, these units have grossly overstayed at the terminal and attracted prohibitive detention charges. I'm sorry, it's very faint. So I'm doing my best to read for you to know what is actually in that letter that that department at ECG wrote to the MPS, the shippers, the Omanobu containers. It is our hope and expectation that a 90% waiver will be granted on all accrued charges to enable us to clear the units by the beginning of the week. This letter was written on the 18th of October 2024. Afenyomakin was the board chair of ECG. And the department that wrote this letter, a department is under the leadership of Dubik Mahama, who is the MD, and Afenyomakin, who is the board chair. Now, into Stadia, all the letter was trying to say, then they say, how much your letter come MPS? Usheni Paul signing a friend, Engineer David B. Asamoah, Managing Director, Acting, Deputy Managing Director, Engineer and Operations, ECG, Director, Materials and Transport, into the head of Materials and Transport, Mr. David B. Asamoah. He actually wrote this letter to MPS, Temaport, to say they need a 90% waiver. Omunyi ekani bebre free sunenka 10%. Na omuntimi enclear containers 2,941 na egu na attracted more cost no. Afenyomakin was the board chair, Dubik Mahama was board chair. The question is, these two people, did they know about this letter? Can they tell us if they had access, they were told about this letter? Does Afenyomakin know anything about this letter? Does Dubik Mahama know anything about this letter? Because this letter was sent to MPS. That's our first document. Afenyomakin is guilty. Anything I can say, let us all come together. Obwa, the crime, now you can't watch them. The crime, now you can't watch them. Afenyomakin knows everything about this crime. In fact, today in Parliament, he gave you a lot of information. And to remember, this letter, we will publish it. We will let the world know. Afenyomakin needs to come and tell us whether he knew about this letter as the board chair, and also Dubik Mahama, if he also knew about this letter as the MD. We want answers. It's simple as that. Now, when you read the investigation or investigative report, there's something here I want you to look at. Oko eye number now point 15. Point 15. Where your page 22 in the report. We will publish it. Don't worry. Page 22.15. Mami numusu kakra. Now, point 15. The shipping department began processing the affected containers for clearing and reached the point of payment, but management failed to allocate funds for this exercise. Into him, the department now, omucho letter come MPS say, 90% waiver no. It is looking like, or it looked like say MPS agreed. Say okay. Say I buying ECG much rather say more per 90% waiver. We are all working together. And they more for 90% waiver no. Now more for 10% in Branamobesa. But time I management led by who? Led by Dubik Mahama, who is the MD, and Afenyomakin as the board chair, no, they said there's no money. Remember, these are the same people who were giving contract for companies to bring their more containers to the port. When these people were able to negotiate to make sure these containers were cleared, Afenyo Markin and Dubik Mahama told the transport and the material department now, who were trying to talk to a MPS to say, give us 90% waiver. They to mean clear no. Afenyo Markin and Dubik say they don't have money. This is the investigative report. They made it sure they will publish it. Until when they went back, Afenyo and then Dubik said there's still no money. Even the 10% now can almost skinny. Now, point 16. I have a day because my bachelor document let very important. Afenyo, me say per this document I am showing you, he's a criminal. Now, up point 16 now. 2 clearing agents. The time now mo catch Ghana for any ECG transport department now almost waiver 90%. The same time 2 clearing agents meet logistics.